The phone rang at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday, jolting me awake from the first decent sleep I'd had in weeks. I knew it was bad news before I even looked at the caller ID. Good news doesn't call before 7 in the morning. "Olive, honey, you need to sit down." My mother's voice was shaking, which immediately put me on high alert. Phoebe Stone doesn't shake. She's the kind of woman who could organize a funeral while simultaneously hosting a dinner party and still have time to critique your outfit choices. My name is Olive Stone, and I should probably mention that I've been divorced from my cheating ex-husband for 2 years now. I run a small eco-friendly home goods boutique downtown, and I'm raising 8-year-old twins, Sienna and Alana, mostly on my own. It's not the life I planned, but it's mine, and I've worked damn hard to build it from the ashes of my marriage. "Mom, what's wrong?" I sat up in bed, already calculating how quickly I could get the girls ready for school if this was some kind of emergency. It's Benson. The name hit me like ice water. He's been in a terrible accident, sweetheart. A car accident. He's hurt very badly. I felt that familiar knot form in my stomach, the one that always appeared whenever my ex-husband's name came up. How badly? The doctors say he might never walk properly again. His back, his legs. Oh, Olive, it's just devastating. And he has nowhere to go. No family nearby. You know how his parents are in Florida, and he can't afford the kind of care he needs. I could hear my father's voice in the background, a low murmur of agreement. Will always backed up whatever Mom said, even when she was being completely unreasonable. "Mom, I'm sorry to hear that, but I don't understand why you're calling me about this." "Well, honey, we were thinking, you have that guest room and the girls should see their father, especially now when he needs them most. It would just be temporary until he gets back on his feet, if he ever does." The manipulation was so obvious it was almost insulting. Almost. But there was something in her tone, something that made my chest tighten with that old, familiar guilt. "You want me to take in the man who cheated on me? The man who left me for his secretary and then tried to get out of paying child support?" "Olive, that's all in the past. This is about being the bigger person. This is about your daughters having their father in their lives. And honestly, sweetheart, it's about doing what's right." I walked to my kitchen window and stared out at my small backyard, where the girls' bikes were scattered on the grass. I'd bought this house with the insurance money from selling our old place. Every mortgage payment was mine, every repair, every grocery bill, every sleepless night when one of the twins had a fever, all mine. I need to think about it. Of course, honey, but don't think too long. He's being discharged tomorrow and he literally has nowhere else to go. After I hung up, I sat at my kitchen table with my coffee, trying to process what had just happened. The smart thing would be to say no. The healthy thing would be to maintain the boundaries I'd spent 2 years building. But then I thought about Sienna, asking why Daddy never came to her school plays, and Alana drawing pictures of our family with a conspicuous blank space where a father should be. My phone buzzed with a text from my best friend Bonnie. "Coffee later? I have gossip about the new yoga instructor." I typed back, "Rain check, family drama brewing." Oh. Scale of 1-10? "Benson wants to move in." "What? Calling you now." But I didn't answer when she called. I wasn't ready to hear someone else tell me what I already knew, that this was a terrible idea. Because despite every rational thought in my head, despite every hard-learned lesson about protecting myself and my daughters, I could feel myself wavering. Maybe it was the guilt, maybe it was the exhaustion of doing everything alone, or maybe it was just the tiny, pathetic part of me that still remembered what it felt like to have a partner, even a terrible one. I called my mother back an hour later. "Okay," I said, "but there are going to be rules." "Oh, sweetheart, thank you. You're doing the right thing. You really are." As I hung up the phone, I had the strangest feeling that I'd just made a decision I was going to regret. But I pushed that thought away and went to wake up my daughters for school. After all, what could go wrong? Benson arrived on Thursday afternoon in a wheelchair, pushed by my mother like she was delivering a wounded war hero. I watched from my front window as they made their way up the ramp Will had somehow installed overnight without asking me. "Girls, your daddy's here," I called upstairs, trying to keep my voice neutral. Sienna and Alana thundered down the stairs but stopped short when they saw the wheelchair. Benson looked up at them with what I can only describe as practiced vulnerability. "Hey, my beautiful girls. Daddy had an accident, but I'm going to be okay. I just need to stay here with you and Mommy for a while." Alana immediately ran to him, but Sienna hung back, studying his face with the kind of intensity that made me proud and worried at the same time. "Does it hurt?" Alana asked, touching the wheelchair's armrest. "Sometimes, sweetheart, but having you here makes it better." I caught my mother's eye over his head. She was practically glowing with satisfaction. "Well," Phoebe announced, "I'll just help him get settled in the guest room. Will's bringing his things from the car." For the next hour, my house became a staging area. My parents bustled around, rearranging furniture, setting up a temporary bathroom setup, and generally acting like they owned the place. Benson directed from his wheelchair, occasionally wincing dramatically when he had to reach for something. "Olive, honey, could you make some tea?" my mother asked. Benson's had such a long day. I bit back my first 3 responses and went to the kitchen. Through the window, I could see Will unloading box after box from their car. How much stuff did a temporarily disabled person need? "Mom," Sienna appeared beside me. "Why is Daddy really here?" "What do you mean, baby?" "He looks different. Not hurt different, just different." Before I could answer, Benson called from the living room. "Olive, could you help me with something?" I found him trying to transfer from the wheelchair to the couch, my mother hovering anxiously nearby. "I've got it," he said, waving her away. But as he moved, I noticed something odd. His legs seemed to support his weight just fine for a split second before he collapsed onto the couch with a groan. "The physical therapist says I need to try to use my legs when I can," he explained quickly, "even though they're not reliable." "Of course," I said. "Whatever helps you heal." That evening, after my parents finally left and the girls were in bed, I found myself alone with Benson for the first time in over 2 years. He was on the couch, remote in hand, looking completely at home. "This is weird, isn't it?" he said, not looking away from the TV. "Which part? You being here, or you pretending we're friends?" He turned to face me then, and for a moment I saw a flash of the old Benson, the one who used to charm his way out of every argument. "I know you don't owe me anything, Olive, but I'm grateful. The girls need their father." "The girls needed their father 2 years ago when you were screwing your secretary." "That's not fair." "Fair?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You want to talk about fair?" "I made mistakes, I know that. But this accident, it's changed me, made me realize what's important." I stared at him. This man I'd once loved enough to marry, to have children with. He looked smaller somehow, diminished. But there was something in his eyes I couldn't quite place. "I'm going to bed," I said. "There are extra blankets in the hall closet if you get cold." "Olive," he caught my arm as I passed. "Thank you, really." I pulled away without answering. At 2:17 a.m., I woke up thirsty and padded to the kitchen for water. The house was dark except for the glow from Benson's phone in the living room. I could hear him talking quietly. "No, it's going perfectly," he whispered. "She bought it completely. Yeah, the wheelchair was a nice touch." "What?" "No, she's not suspicious at all. Too guilty to ask questions." I froze in the hallway, my heart hammering. "Trust me, by the end of the month, I'll have her eating out of my hand, and once I'm back in good with the girls—" He paused, listening. "Exactly. It's all about playing the long game." I crept back to my room, my mind racing. I sat on my bed in the dark, staring at nothing, trying to process what I'd just heard. When I finally fell back asleep, I dreamed about wolves in sheep's clothing. The next morning, Benson was back in his wheelchair, looking pale and helpless as my mother fussed over his breakfast. "How did you sleep, honey?" Phoebe asked me. "Like a baby," I lied, watching Benson's face carefully. He smiled at me, all innocence and gratitude. But I'd heard enough to know that smile was just another lie. By the second week, Benson had made himself completely at home. I came back from dropping the girls at school to find him in my kitchen, making coffee with ingredients I definitely hadn't bought. Morning, Olive. I had your mum pick up some decent coffee beans. That stuff you drink tastes like burnt water. That stuff is what I can afford. Come on, don't be like that. I'm just trying to contribute. Speaking of which, Sienna's backpack is falling apart, and Alana needs new shoes. I noticed at breakfast. I set my purse down harder than necessary. Their backpack and shoes are fine. Are they, though? I mean, I know money's tight for you, but the girls shouldn't suffer because of it. The audacity was breathtaking. Money's tight because I'm supporting 3 extra people right now. 3? It's just me. You, plus my parents who are here every day eating my food and using my utilities. Benson wheeled closer, his voice dropping to that concerned tone I remembered from our marriage. Olive, you seem stressed. Maybe you should take a break from the shop. Focus on family for a while. I can't take a break from the shop. It's how I pay for this house. Well, maybe that's the problem. Maybe this house is too much for you to handle alone. I stared at him. Are you suggesting I should sell my house? I'm just saying a smaller place might be more manageable. And if we were together again, we could pool our resources. We're not getting back together, Benson. Never say never. He smiled that old, charming smile. Accidents have a way of putting things in perspective. I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. I'm going to work. At the shop, my employee Zane was rearranging the display window. He was one of those quietly observant people who noticed everything but only spoke when it mattered. You look like you want to punch something, he said without turning around. That obvious? Your ex still playing house? I'd told Zane the basics when Benson moved in, mainly so he'd understand if I seemed distracted. He's getting comfortable. Too comfortable. Zane stepped back to examine his work. You know, I was at the gym yesterday. Saw someone who looked exactly like your ex doing squats. Weird, right? Since he's supposed to be wheelchair-bound. I nearly dropped the inventory clipboard. What? Yeah, I did a double take. Guy had the same build, same hair, but couldn't be him, obviously. Zane's tone was carefully neutral. Unless he's got a twin brother who works out at Planet Fitness. What time was this? Around 10 in the morning, right when you said he had physical therapy. My phone buzzed with a text from Bonnie. Coffee break? I'm buying. 20 minutes later, I was sitting across from my best friend at our usual cafe, trying to keep my voice down. He's manipulating you, Bonnie said after I'd filled her in. This whole thing stinks, Olive. But what if he really is hurt? What if I'm being paranoid? Then explain the gym sighting. Explain why he's suddenly an expert on your finances. Explain why he's pushing you to sell your house. He didn't exactly say that. He implied it. That's how guys like Benson work. They plant seeds. Bonnie leaned forward. Listen to me. You spent 2 years building a life without him. Don't let him tear it down with guilt and fake injuries. The girls love having him around. The girls love the idea of having their dad around. There's a difference. When I got home, I found Benson in the garage, standing at my workbench, sorting through my tools. Not sitting. Standing. Oh, hey, he said, quickly grabbing the wheelchair handles. I was just looking for a screwdriver. The girls' bike chains need adjusting. Since when do you know how to fix bikes? YouTube University. He lowered himself into the wheelchair with what looked like practiced ease. Amazing what you can learn when you have time on your hands. I thought you had physical therapy this morning. Cancelled. Therapist was sick. He wheeled past me toward the house. I made lunch for the girls. They'll be home soon. That evening, after the girls were asleep, my phone rang. Unknown number. Is this Olive? Yes? This is going to sound crazy, but I work at Planet Fitness downtown. I've been seeing your ex-husband there for weeks. working out, using the leg machines. I recognized him from the photo you have at your shop. My blood went cold. Are you sure? Positive. He's there most mornings around 10. Look, I don't know what's going on, but I thought you should know. My sister went through something similar with her ex. These guys will do anything to get back in. After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen staring at Benson's wheelchair, which was parked by the back door. I walked over and examined it closely. The seat cushion was barely worn. The wheels were clean, like they'd never been used outside. I pulled out my phone and started typing a text to Bonnie. You're not going to believe what I just found out. But before I could send it, I heard movement from the living room. I quickly deleted the message and pretended to be getting water. Everything okay? Benson appeared in the doorway, walking normally before catching himself and grabbing the door frame. Just thirsty, I said, not turning around. Good. Sweet dreams, Olive. As his footsteps retreated, I realized something had shifted. The game had changed, and I was finally ready to play. The opportunity came 3 days later when Benson left his old tablet in a basket of laundry I was folding. The screen lit up when I accidentally bumped it, and I saw he was still logged into his messaging apps. I should have walked away, should have minded my own business. But after everything I'd seen, everything I'd heard, I couldn't stop myself. The first few messages were normal. Then I scrolled back further and found a group chat labeled Family Plan with 3 participants: Benson, my mother, and my father. My hands started shaking as I read. Phoebe, 3 weeks ago. She's wavering. Keep pushing the guilt angle. Benson, 3 weeks ago. The wheelchair was genius. She can't say no to a cripple. Will, 3 weeks ago. I still think this is wrong. Phoebe, 3 weeks ago. Will, we talked about this. Olive needs family. She's been alone too long. Benson, 3 weeks ago. Once I'm back in the house, it's just a matter of time. She still loves me, deep down. I had to put the tablet down. My vision was blurring, and I felt like I might throw up. But I forced myself to keep reading. Benson, 2 weeks ago. I'm in. She bought the whole story, even got her parents helping with the performance. Phoebe, 2 weeks ago. How's she treating you? Benson, 2 weeks ago. Guilty as hell. Perfect. Phase 2 starts next week. Will, 2 weeks ago. What's phase 2? Benson, 2 weeks ago. Financial integration. Get her to see we're better together. Maybe suggest selling the house, pooling resources. Phoebe, 2 weeks ago. Brilliant. That house is too big for her anyway. I scrolled faster, my heart pounding. Benson, 1 week ago. She's getting suspicious, caught me standing up last night. Phoebe, 1 week ago. Be more careful, we can't lose momentum now. Benson, 1 week ago. Relax, I covered, told her about physical therapy exercises. Will, 1 week ago. Maybe we should stop. This feels wrong. Phoebe, 1 week ago. Will, for the last time, this is for her benefit. She needs us. She needs family. Benson, 1 week ago. Your wife's right, Will. Olive's been struggling alone for too long. We're helping her. Then I found something that made my blood freeze. Phoebe, 5 days ago. I looked at her bank statements when I was there yesterday. She's got more saved than I thought. Benson, 5 days ago. How much? Phoebe, 5 days ago. Enough for a nice fresh start for all of us. Will, 5 days ago. Phoebe, you went through her private papers? Phoebe, 5 days ago. I'm her mother. I'm looking out for her future. Benson, 5 days ago. This is perfect. Once we're remarried, that money becomes community property again. I screenshot everything, my fingers moving automatically while my brain tried to process the betrayal. My own mother had gone through my financial documents. My own parents were helping my ex-husband con me. But the worst was yet to come. I found a video file buried in their shared media. The timestamp showed it was recorded a month ago, before Benson's supposed accident. In the video, Benson was in my parents' driveway, completely healthy, demonstrating how he planned to fake his injuries. My mother was behind the camera giving direction. "Remember, favor your left leg more," Phoebe's voice said, "and don't forget to wince when you try to stand." "Like this?" Benson limped dramatically across the frame. "Perfect. Oh, and Benson? Make sure you mention the financial strain. Olive's always been a sucker for people in need." They were laughing, actually laughing about manipulating me. I was still staring at the screen when I heard the front door open. "Olive, I'm back," Benson called out. "Physical therapy was brutal today." I quickly closed the tablet and shoved it back into the laundry basket, my heart hammering so loud I was sure he could hear it. "How are you feeling?" I asked when he wheeled into the laundry room. "Exhausted. The therapist really pushed me today. Says I might never get full mobility back." He looked up at me with those practiced sad eyes. "I'm trying to stay positive, but some days—" "I'm sure you are." Something in my tone must have caught his attention because he studied my face. "You okay? You look pale." "Just tired. Long day at the shop." "You work too hard. Maybe it's time to consider scaling back. Focus on what's really important." "And what's that, Benson?" "Family. Us. The girls need stability, and you need support. We could make this work, Olive. We could be a family again." I looked down at this man who had destroyed my marriage, who was now systematically trying to destroy the life I'd built from the ashes. This man who had recruited my own parents to help him manipulate me. "That's a beautiful dream," I said. "It doesn't have to be just a dream." "You're right," I said, forcing a smile. "Maybe it's time I stopped being so stubborn." His face lit up. "Really?" "Really. In fact, why don't we have a family dinner this weekend? Invite my parents, maybe some extended family, celebrate your progress." "Olive, that's wonderful. I knew you'd come around." "I'm full of surprises," I said, walking away before he could see the expression on my face. Because I was full of surprises, and he was about to find out just how surprising I could be. The next morning, I called my mother bright and early. "Phoebe, I've been thinking about what you said, about family being important." "Oh, sweetheart, I'm so glad to hear that." "I want to have a dinner party this Saturday. Nothing fancy, just family. You, Will, Benson, the girls. Maybe invite Aunt Sarah and Uncle Mike too. I want to celebrate Benson's progress." "Olive, that's wonderful. I'm so proud of you for taking this step." "I thought we could make it special. Maybe set up the big screen in the dining room, show some family photos, make it really memorable." "That sounds perfect. What can I bring?" "Just yourselves. I want to handle everything." After I hung up, I called Bonnie. "I need your help with something," I said, "and it's going to sound crazy." "I'm listening." "Can you babysit the girls Saturday night? I'm having a dinner party, but I don't want them there for the entertainment portion." "Olive, what are you planning?" "Justice." An hour later, Bonnie was at my house, and I was showing her the screenshots and video from Benson's tablet. "Holy shit," she whispered, scrolling through the messages. "Your own mother? Gets worse, look at this." I showed her the video of Benson practicing his fake limp. "I'm going to kill him," Bonnie said. "I'm literally going to murder your ex-husband." "No, you're not, because I have a better idea." That afternoon, I went to see Zane at the shop. "I need a favor," I said, "and it involves your tech skills." Zane looked up from the inventory he was updating. "I'm intrigued." "Can you set up a wireless camera system? Something that can stream to a big screen?" "Depends. What are we filming? A performance. Several performances, actually. I explained what I needed, and Zane's eyes lit up with understanding. Oh, this is going to be good. When do you need it? Saturday. And Zane, I need you there to run the technical side. Wouldn't miss it for the world. For the next 3 days, I played the perfect reformed ex-wife. I was attentive to Benson, grateful to my parents, and enthusiastic about our fresh start. You seem different, Benson said Thursday night as I brought him tea. Different how? Happier, more open. I've been doing a lot of thinking about what you said, about family being important. And maybe I was holding on to old hurt for too long. Maybe it's time to move forward. He reached for my hand. Olive, you don't know how happy this makes me. I think I do. Meanwhile, Zane had been busy. He'd installed tiny wireless cameras throughout my house, in the living room, kitchen, hallway, and garage, all connected to a central system that could display multiple feeds on my big screen. The beauty of this setup, he explained during a quick walkthrough while Benson was at his fake physical therapy, is that I can switch between live feeds and recorded footage seamlessly. It'll look like a professional presentation. And you got everything? Oh yeah, your ex is quite the performer when he thinks no one's watching. We'd captured Benson doing jumping jacks in the garage, lifting weights he'd hidden behind my holiday decorations, and even dancing to music in the hallway. The footage was damning. But the real treasure came Friday morning when I intercepted another group chat message. Phoebe, Friday, 9:15 a.m. She's planning something special for tomorrow. I think she's finally ready to take him back. Benson, Friday, 9:20 a.m. Told you the long game would work? By Sunday, I'll be back in the master bedroom. Will, Friday, 9:25 a.m. Are we sure this is right? She seems genuinely happy. Phoebe, Friday, 9:30 a.m. Will, stop second-guessing. This is what she needs. What we all need. Benson, Friday, 9:35. Once we're remarried, we can sell this house and get something bigger. Maybe closer to you guys. Phoebe, Friday, 9:40 a.m. I've already been looking at listings. There's a lovely place near us that would be perfect for the whole family. I screenshot everything and sent it to Zane with a message. Add this to tomorrow's presentation. Saturday morning, I was in full hostess mode. I cleaned the house, prepared food, and set up the dining room with the big screen prominently displayed. This is so nice, my mother said when she arrived early to help. I'm so proud of you for doing this. It's going to be a night to remember, I said. Benson wheeled himself around the house, playing the gracious patient. Olive's been amazing, he told my father. I don't know what I did to deserve a second chance. Your family, Will said, looking uncomfortable. Family takes care of each other. Exactly, I said, adjusting the camera angle slightly. Family should always be honest with each other, don't you think? By 6 o'clock, everyone had arrived. Aunt Sarah and Uncle Mike, Bonnie, who was taking the girls to a movie, and even a few neighbors I'd invited to make it feel more like a celebration. Should we eat first? My mother asked. Actually, I said, raising my wine glass, I'd like to make a toast first, and I have a little presentation prepared. Something special to mark this occasion. I nodded to Zane, who was positioned near the entertainment center with his laptop. This is a story about family, I began, and the lengths people will go to for the ones they love. The screen flickered to life, or the ones they think they can fool. Benson's face went white as his own image appeared on the screen, doing squats in my garage. What the hell is this? He whispered. This, I said, my voice steady and clear, is the truth. The room went dead silent except for the sound of Benson's recorded voice coming through the speakers. The wheelchair was genius. She can't say no to a cripple. My mother's wine glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. Olive, what is this? Benson's voice was shaking, but he was still in his wheelchair, still playing the part. "This is 3 weeks of footage," I said calmly. "Would you like to see more?" The screen switched to the video of him lifting weights in my garage, then to him dancing in the hallway to music from his phone. Each clip was time-stamped, showing dates and times when he was supposed to be at physical therapy or resting. "You've been spying on me?" Benson tried to sound outraged, but his voice cracked. "I've been documenting a fraud." I looked around the room. Aunt Sarah and Uncle Mike were staring at the screen in shock. My neighbors looked confused and uncomfortable. But wait, there's more. Zane switched to the group chat screenshots. The messages appeared on screen, blown up large enough for everyone to read. "Phoebe. She's got more saved than I thought. Benson. Once we're remarried, that money becomes community property again." My mother made a strangled sound. "Olive, you don't understand." "I understand perfectly." I turned to face her. "You went through my private financial documents. You helped plan this whole charade. You recruited my own father to help you manipulate me." "We were trying to help you." Phoebe's voice was rising. "You've been alone for 2 years. The girls need their father. The girls need honest people in their lives, not liars and con artists." Will finally spoke up, his voice barely above a whisper. "Olive, I'm sorry. I told them this was wrong." "But you went along with it anyway." "She's my wife. I didn't know how to stop it." The screen changed again, showing the video of Benson practicing his fake limp in my parents' driveway. My mother's voice came through clearly. "Make sure you mention the financial strain. Olive's always been a sucker for people in need." The laughter that followed was like a slap across the face to everyone in the room. "Jesus Christ," Uncle Mike muttered. "Phoebe, what the hell were you thinking?" "I was thinking about my daughter's happiness," my mother snapped. "She's been struggling alone, working herself to death, and for what? Pride?" "For independence," I said. "For self-respect. For teaching my daughters that they don't need to tolerate liars and cheaters." Benson suddenly stood up from the wheelchair. The movement was so smooth, so natural that several people gasped. "Okay, fine," he shouted. "You want the truth? Here's the truth. I made a mistake leaving you, Olive. I realized that after the divorce. I wanted my family back, and yes, I was desperate enough to fake an injury to get it." "You wanted my money back," I corrected. "And my house. And my life." "I wanted US back." "There is no us. There hasn't been an us since I found you screwing your secretary in our bed." The room erupted. Aunt Sarah started crying. Uncle Mike was shaking his head in disgust. My neighbors were whispering to each other, clearly wanting to leave, but too shocked to move. "Everyone needs to calm down," my mother said, trying to regain control. "This is a family matter. We can work through this." "No," I said firmly. "We can't, because you're not my family anymore." "Olive, don't say that," Will pleaded. "We made mistakes, but we're still family." Family doesn't lie to each other. Family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't conspire to manipulate each other. I walked to the front door and opened it wide. "I want all 3 of you out of my house. Now." "You can't be serious," Benson said. "Where am I supposed to go?" "I don't care. Call your secretary, call a hotel, call a homeless shelter. But you're not staying here another night." "Olive, please," my mother was crying now. "I'm your mother. I love you. I was just trying to—" "You were trying to control me like you always have, but I'm done being controlled." Benson grabbed the wheelchair and started loading his things into it. "This is insane, Olive. You're making a huge mistake." "The mistake was letting you in my house in the first place." "What about the girls? They need their father." "They need their father to be honest with them, something you've never been capable of." My mother made one last desperate attempt. "Sweetheart, if you do this, if you cut us out, you'll be all alone. No family, no support system. Is that really what you want?" I looked around the room at the shocked faces, at the broken glass on the floor, at the evidence of betrayal still glowing on the big screen. Yes, I said, that's exactly what I want. You'll regret this, Benson said as he wheeled toward the door. You'll come crawling back within a month. The only thing I regret is not doing this sooner. As they filed out, my father stopped in the doorway. I'm sorry, Olive. I really am. I know you are, Dad, but sorry doesn't fix this. After they left, the remaining guests made awkward excuses and hurried out. Soon it was just me, Zane, and the mess they'd left behind. Well, Zane said, starting to pack up his equipment, that was intense. I looked around my house, my quiet, honest house, and felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. 20 minutes after everyone left, Bonnie came back with the girls. She took one look at my face and the broken glass still scattered on the floor and immediately understood. Girls, why don't you go upstairs and get ready for bed? I'll be up in a few minutes to read you a story. Sienna and Alana looked between us, sensing the tension. Where's Daddy? Alana asked. He had to leave, sweetheart. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Is he coming back? Sienna's voice was small. I knelt down to their level. No, baby, he's not coming back. Good, Sienna said quietly, then ran upstairs. Alana followed, looking confused. Good? Bonnie raised an eyebrow. She's always been the perceptive one. After Bonnie got the girls settled, she came back downstairs and helped me clean up the wine glass. So how bad was it? She asked. Nuclear. Complete scorched earth. Any regrets? I considered the question while sweeping up glass shards. Ask me in a week. The next morning, my phone started ringing at 6 a.m. First my mother, then my father, then Benson. I let them all go to voicemail. By noon, I had 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. Phoebe, 7:23 a.m. Olive, please call me. We need to talk. Phoebe, 7:45 a.m. I'm your mother. You can't just cut me out of your life. Will, 8:15 a.m. Your mother is beside herself. Please just talk to her. Benson, 9:30 a.m. This is childish, Olive. The girls need stability. Benson, 10:15 a.m. I'm talking to my lawyer about custody. You can't keep my daughters from me. Phoebe, 11:20 a.m. I've been calling your shop. Zane says you're not taking calls. This is ridiculous. I turned my phone off and focused on my daughters, who were unusually quiet over breakfast. Mom, Sienna said finally, was Daddy lying about being hurt? There was no point in sugarcoating it. Yes, he was. Why? He wanted to move back in with us, and he thought if we felt sorry for him, we'd say yes. That's mean, Alana said. Yes, it is. Are Grandma and Grandpa in trouble too? I took a deep breath. Grandma and Grandpa helped Daddy lie to us, so yes, they're in trouble too. Are we going to see them anymore? Not for a while. Maybe not ever. Sienna nodded like this made perfect sense. Can we have pancakes? The resilience of children never ceased to amaze me. Monday morning, I was at the shop when my lawyer called. Olive, I just got a call from Benson's attorney. He's filing for emergency custody, claiming you're mentally unstable. Based on what? Apparently he has witnesses who say you had some kind of breakdown at a dinner party, set up cameras to spy on family members, made wild accusations. I laughed, which probably didn't help my case for mental stability. I have video evidence of him faking a disability to manipulate me, and text messages proving he conspired with my parents to con me out of my money. Can you send me everything? I'll need to review it all. Already on its way. That afternoon, Aunt Sarah called. Olive, honey, I don't know what to say about Saturday night. You don't have to say anything. Your mother called me this morning crying. She says you won't talk to her. That's correct. She's your mother, Olive. She made a mistake, but she loves you. Love doesn't excuse betrayal, Aunt Sarah. But family is supposed to protect each other, not prey on each other. There was a long pause. What can I do to help fix this? Nothing. There's nothing to fix. It's over. Tuesday brought a visit from my mother. She showed up at the shop during lunch, looking haggard and desperate. Olive, please, just 5 minutes. We have nothing to discuss. I'm your mother. You're a stranger who happens to share my DNA. Phoebe's face crumpled. How can you say that? After everything I've done for you. You mean after everything you've done to me? I was trying to help. You were alone, struggling. I was thriving. I built a business, bought a house, raised my daughters. I was happy. You were lonely. I was free. She stared at me like I was speaking a foreign language. I don't understand you anymore. You never did. You just thought you could control me. And now what? You're going to raise those girls all alone? No family support? No help? I have friends. I have people who actually care about me, not just what they can get from me. Friends aren't family. Sometimes they're better. She left crying, and I felt nothing. No guilt, no sadness, no regret, just relief. Wednesday, Benson showed up at school pickup. I saw him talking to the girls through the fence, and my blood pressure spiked. Daddy! Alana ran to him when she saw me approaching. Hey, sweetheart, I missed you. Girls, get in the car, I said firmly. Olive, they're my daughters too. Not according to the restraining order I filed this morning. His face went white. You didn't. Fraud, harassment, and attempted financial exploitation. My lawyer was very thorough. You can't keep me from my kids. Watch me. As we drove away, Sienna turned to me from the back seat. Mom, are you okay? I looked at her in the rearview mirror. This wise, brave little girl who saw through everyone's lies. Yeah, baby, I'm perfect. And for the first time in years, I actually meant it. The restraining order held. Benson's lawyer tried to fight it, but when faced with video evidence of fraud and documented harassment, they quickly backed down. The emergency custody petition was dismissed so fast it was almost embarrassing. Your ex-husband has agreed to supervised visitation only, my lawyer explained over the phone. 2 hours every other Saturday at the family center. And Olive? He's also agreed to pay the back child support he's been dodging. How much? $18,000 plus ongoing payments. I hung up and did a little victory dance in my kitchen. The fallout in my extended family was swift and brutal. Uncle Mike called to tell me that half the family thought I was a hero, and the other half thought I was a vindictive bitch who'd destroyed my mother's health. She's lost 15 pounds, he said. Won't eat, barely sleeps. Will's worried sick. That's unfortunate. Olive, come on, she's your mother. My mother wouldn't have stolen from me. She didn't steal. She went through my private financial documents and shared the information with my ex-husband so he could plan how to get his hands on my money. What would you call that? Uncle Mike was quiet for a long moment. I'd call it theft. Exactly. The girls adapted faster than I expected. Sienna seemed relieved that the tension in the house was gone. Alana asked about Daddy and Grandma a few times, but when I explained that they had lied to us, she accepted it with the straightforward logic of childhood. Lying is bad, she said matter-of-factly. We don't talk to people who lie. That's right, baby. Can we get a dog instead? I laughed. We'll see. Business at the shop actually improved. Word had gotten around about what happened, and apparently there were a lot of people in town who dealt with manipulative family members. I became something of a local legend. You're the woman who exposed her cheating ex at a dinner party, a customer said one afternoon. My sister told me about it. Good for you. It wasn't about revenge, I said, ringing up her purchase. It was about truth. Same thing sometimes. Zane had become my unofficial business partner, handling the technical side while I focused on buying and customer relations. He never mentioned the dinner party directly, But sometimes I caught him smiling when difficult customers tried to manipulate me. "You're not falling for that," he'd say after they left. "Not anymore. Never again." The hardest part was the loneliness. Not the kind my mother had assumed I felt. I'd never been lonely when it was just me and the girls, but the specific loneliness of realizing that the people you'd trusted most in the world had been willing to betray you for their own agenda. Bonnie helped fill that gap. She started coming over for dinner twice a week, and her kids became like siblings to my girls. We created our own little chosen family. "Any regrets?" she asked one evening while we watched the kids play in the backyard. "About cutting them off? No? About the way you did it?" I considered this. I could have handled it privately, confronted them one-on-one, given them a chance to explain. But they'd been lying to me for months, planning it, coordinating it, laughing about it. They didn't deserve privacy or consideration. Fair enough. Besides, the public humiliation was the only thing that actually stopped them. If I'd done it quietly, they would have kept pushing, kept trying to manipulate me. And now? Now they know I'm not the same person they used to be able to control. The supervised visits with Benson were awkward, but manageable. He tried to pump the girls for information about my life, my finances, my dating situation. They reported back to me with the brutal honesty of 8-year-olds. "Daddy asked if you have a boyfriend," Sienna told me after one visit. "What did you tell him?" "That it's none of his business." Good girl. He also asked if we miss him. And? I said sometimes, but not the lying part. My parents made one final attempt at reconciliation. They showed up at my house on a Sunday morning, looking older and more fragile than I remembered. "Olive," my father said through the screen door, "we just want to talk." "There's nothing to talk about." "Please," my mother whispered. "I'm sorry. We're both sorry." I looked at them standing on my porch, these people who had raised me, who had once been the center of my world. I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, no love, just emptiness where they used to be. "I know you are," I said, "but sorry doesn't change what you did." "What can we do to fix this?" Will asked. "Nothing. There's nothing you can do." I closed the door and locked it. They stood there for another 10 minutes before finally leaving. That night, I tucked the girls into bed and sat in my quiet living room. My house, my rules, my life. No lies, no manipulation, no hidden agendas. "Mom?" Sienna appeared in the doorway in her pajamas. "What's up, sweetheart? Are you sad about Grandma and Grandpa?" "Sometimes, but I'm not sorry." "Good. We don't need people who lie to us." "No, we don't. We have each other." "We do. And Bonnie and her kids." "Them too. And Zane at the shop." "Yes." "That's enough family, right?" I pulled her onto my lap. "That's perfect family." She curled up against me, and I realized something important. I wasn't alone. I was surrounded by people who chose to be in my life, who valued honesty over convenience, who supported me without trying to control me. That was worth more than blood relations could ever be. "Mom." "Yeah?" "Can we really get a dog?" I laughed. "We'll see." But I was already thinking about what kind of dog would be best for 2 little girls who'd learned early that loyalty had to be earned, not assumed. Maybe a rescue. Something that understood what it meant to start over. Something that knew the difference between a house and a home.